Good afternoon. It's Monday, April 15th, and I'm Joey, only up here in Wells, British Columbia, the Caribou Weather Dude, with another look at BC weather this week. So much to talk about! Well, not really. Maybe you'll like this forecast. All right, let's go. Sketched out. Big moose. Getting angrier. Now, if you jump off the roof.
There she goes. You never know what can happen.
They're going on, you know. Here she comes. That's pretty close. All right, it's roughly 12 noon. So here's looking back about an hour ago. And several hours for you by the time you read this. But as you can see, all the real heat right now is trapped down south. This is nice for us. Mexico got some real heat down there, 33 degrees. Go up to the Carolinas, you're looking at 28s, as you can 30s as you go up the coast. Even closer to Washington, you got some really warm weather, even in the central states. So there is a lot of warm weather up there. And BC, luckily, we're not really experiencing much of that. So that is a positive for us because, the big concern is fire season, right? When's it going to start? And looking at the forecast right now, as you see, most of our values that we're coming into in British Columbia this week, we get down below freezing a lot of nights in a lot of places. So here's 8 o'clock tonight. You can see already the mountains are coldish, right? So that's good news. We do have snowfall that's been going on up here. There was a snowfall warning, so the big storm has been going on up in the Fort Nelson area. So they're getting snow. So this is good for the zombie fires and holdovers. It's mid-April. We're getting some snow on top, and we're getting some cold weather. Even if you go far temps in northern BC, minus 18s up there. So there's some cold air in northern BC. And hey, even our friends in the Chilcotin, and they might see some extra cool temps over tonight. And you start looking at the afternoons. Western Canada, the best weather on Tuesday, looking to be in Saskatchewan. Although we do have a warm up quickly north after that snowfall up there, right? So we'll see that will melt that snow off pretty quick. Although at least you do have cold nights. So what's going on? Meteorologist Mark refers to is basically there's going to be a omega block. Now let's look at what I mean by that. Here we got low, and we got in between high pressure getting forced down, right? So we're getting the benefit of that colder air spilling down, and with that colder air comes more sunshine. So here's what we're looking at this week. We're April, so the sun is warm. Some of those Rocky Mountains even will not be seen above zero. So the upper level air is cold. If you go up to 4,200 meters, the tops of the very, very tallest mountains in BC, which there's only a few that get up to the 4,000 meter mark, but you're looking at this cold air is spilling down and wrapping around this low. So up above us is this really cold air still, really cold air. And that would be handy for making thunderstorms if we had the right thing going on, but we don't, right? So we are looking at clearing trend this week, and we'll look at that in a minute more closely, with cool nights continuing for most of us. Maybe some of the people down in the valley bottoms, not so much. Up into the Yukon now. This may surprise people, seeing these warm temperatures up here, but you got to remember, it was already sunlight at 5 a.m. this morning here in Wells. So if you got that sunlight going on at 4 a.m., or 5 a.m. here, well, let's go 1,000 kilometers north, and then you're getting close to the Yukon border. How much more sunlight's there? You go further north than that. So they're getting more daylight hours already. So I notice this every year. My friends in the Yukon start posting nice pictures of no snow and lakes thawing, and I look at the window to the Jacket Club's lake, and it's still frozen here in Wells because we're at 4,000 feet, and we don't get the benefit of those extra long days that they're getting up there. So they don't have the angle of the sun we get, but they get more of that time. So that continues all week, more or less. Chilly nights, warm days. Maybe Friday being the warmest day up in northern BC, northern Alberta, Northwest Territories, up into the Yukon, and Vancouver Island, maybe seeing some little bit warmerish temperatures. Vancouver 14. So, looking sort of springish at times. But then we get that high pressure, just keeps bringing that cold air in at night. It settles down. So that's more or less our week. This is good news. We don't have much in the way of, until this storm starts trying to leak its way in. We don't have much for precipitation coming this week at all. So we have no real risk of thunderstorms or lightning. We don't have heat. And when you look in the sort of long-range trends, if we go to Wednesday the 24th, what's our temperatures like? Still, we're looking like down in the United States, this center of this heat is definitely moved over the course of this 10 days. And plus, from being eastern to more western. And that could at some point invite it to come north. But so far, we do not have in the immediate forecast any hot weather scheduled for British Columbia. And here we are at noon today. Here's our storms out in the Pacific, and here's some stormy weather going on in other parts of the continent. We got this high blocking off, and this snow and cold weather is slipping down on the contact. So we got widespread snow still continuing tonight, overnight. Fort Nelson, Peace River, up to Uranium City, Saskatchewan, some down La Ronge, even South Alberta, getting a skiff of snow. Revelstoke as well, looking at a little bit larger amounts of snow coming in at the time. And this will all mostly work its way out by Wednesday. You go further south on Tuesday, we got some very strong thunderstorm action happening down in the United States, down through Minnesota, Iowa, Illinois, and whatnot. So that's definitely some, because we know how cold this air is at the upper levels, and we know how warm it is here. So I would imagine that we have risks for tornadoes, outbreaks, and things like that tomorrow. So by the time we come to Wednesday, British Columbia is pretty much in the clear, and we're getting, clear skies, and this catastrophe continues to move its way eastward. So Saskatchewan, Alberta still getting a little extra snow. It's not that unusual. I mean, I wrote a song called Birthday Blizzard Bus Ride Blues. My birthday was 17th, and I was coming through Alberta. I was left Prince George to Jasper, down to Edmonton, down to Calgary, down to Nana, Alberta, through crazy snowstorm. I was like 2 feet fell that day, that week. So, I mean, that's not unusual at all. So, but still, that's what you're looking at. It's going to hold on for a little while there. Certainly eastern Alberta getting long, Saskatchewan getting more than they probably are expecting and wanting. And then as it sort of tails its way in northern Ontario, you go far enough south in southern Ontario, along the lakes, you're looking at rainfall event for you. BC remains in the clear coming into Thursday now 9 a.m. Still snow in Saskatchewan. So this is going to be a pretty big event for them, I think, this week. I mean, it's starting up here right now, but when this storm pushes sort of south, being driven down by this high pressure, it will take its time sort of stalling there, just being stuck. And we got like multiple days now, and Saskatchewan still getting a little bit of snow by Friday evening, right? And Manitoba now getting a little bit of a turn too. So Manitoba gets that mix this week. First rain, then some snow, and then finally that high pressure takes over. And this is what Mark was calling basically the Omega block going on this week. Not really the classic what we're used to seeing, but essentially behaving much the same way. And up into Maritimes by the weekend, Frankie will be getting some wind, it looks like there, some heavy rains, and then still down through the United States. I mean, look at some of this developments, right? So we have all through Georgia, Alabama. Some of these storms looking very serious. And here we are sitting on Saturday, finally seeing a little bit of precipitation over the coast. Could there be some snow in the mountains? Sure. Mix at different elevations, freezing rain. I mean, this is already looking ahead to early Sunday morning, Saturday night. A little far out, so we don't know exactly what that will look like, but this is probably a good guess. There's going to be some precipitation coming in. Storm we looked at earlier. It's the one we're going to be watching for next. I don't think it's going to be bringing us anything too serious. It's not a very developed storm. It's riding the conveyor belt of the sky and getting blocked at times as well from being able to move inland. And that's been just sitting out there for most of the week now at this point, trying to find its way into BC. So maybe as we get into next week, it will find a way on Monday to send precipitation in. We might even have some more snow in the mountains next week, Tuesday. So that's what we're looking forward to next week. And that could even make for another round of snow. This is good news. This is good news for the fire situation for sure. Let's talk about that. Because we look at drought intensity that was Sunday. Let's go to Monday today. Drought intensity in British Columbia. It's not a good story. And you go to Alberta, Fort McMurray, High Level, Fort Nelson, all this whole patch, all the way up in the Northwest Territories. It's a bad situation, right? And things will dry out now. I mean, it's good that they've got some rain, some snow. We know that's going to mostly melt, but that should help at least keep things down. We know the temperature will keep things down, so we're not really looking at the conditions for real fire weather yet. But this is concerning, and we're expecting the worst drought in all North America is taking place, right in front of us. So we are expecting that La Nina. Sorry, I confused my words. The El Nino is fading, and the La Nina is coming. So we are expecting to see rainier patterns show up this year at some point. We're really hoping on that. We're praying for that because this is a bad situation. Very, very dry, very deep, very dry, very concerning. There's nothing green out there. Everything's just dry and dead. And if it's dry, then we find ourselves into, well, that would be fuel moisture. This is the thing we're really going to be concerned about. And if you look at fuel moisture today, and where do we expect it to be on the 23rd? So we got definitely drying trends south of us. We've seen that hot weather in the east. We know that hot weather is coming to the west. It's down there. So we got this drying trend going on down there, and even up into Washington. They're looking more fire ready than we are. If you look at their fire spread potential, it's bad through a lot of the southern states, man. Really bad. We've already seen some crazy fires down there this year, right? So we're really concerned for all these areas from Kansas straight across to California, right? From Utah down to Mexico and beyond, over to Texas even. Quite dry. So we look at fire spread potential. It's up there by next week into the yellows. That's low. Whereas green is very low. It's not until you start seeing these colors on this map, moderate, that we start talking about, cause for concern. We don't have any thunderstorms in the forecast. We don't have any hot weather coming in the immediate forecast. Things are cooler at night. We got not enough precipitation coming, but some. So all in all, right now things aren't horrific, right? So let's see. Any questions from the public? New BC forecast coming this afternoon. If you got any questions, ask them now. I'll answer the video. So tick forecast, pretty bad in some caribou areas already. That's a good question. Tick forecast. I don't think he's at tick season. Matt Sim asked that as well. Updates, what do you think we'll get another hard frost? So obviously by what I just showed you, yes, I think we will be getting some pretty hard frost in a lot of areas. When do you think the hummingbirds may come early this year? That's possible. Yeah, I do think that is possible. You might see the hummingbirds a little earlier, but of course it really depends on things growing too. The hummingbirds, they don't want to get here and not have anything to eat yet, right? So they try to time it in a way, I'm quite sure. I haven't seen the caribou come through wells yet this year. That's really surprised me. I thought with the low snow we would have seen them already. Good news for you, Savannah Smith, who's finding the barometric pressure and humidity is causing flares for arthritis and fibromyalgia. Full body pain, not making her want to move. So sorry about that right now, my friend. So the good news is through this week, things will clear up. You got a day or two where we're going to be in this, but should have a good 5 days of clear high pressure weather that should help you a little bit. When does mosquito season come into full swing? So let's talk about ticks. So here's what the BC Center for Disease Control says as of last year about ticks. Says that they come from March to June. Ticks are most active in the spring and early summer from March to June, but can be found year-round in Vancouver Island, Gulf Islands, Lower Mainland. Climate change is continuing to affect the environment. Ticks are spreading further across BC, and we have seen this found later in the year in more areas. Tick experts say they also see another smaller peak in tick submissions now in October and November. The main concern is Lyme disease. BC, less than 1% of ticks tested carry this bacteria, and there have been between 5 and 39 Lyme cases reported in BC since 2006. 53% of these cases were travel-related and came from outside the province. So that is positive. More recently, ticks have been found to carry bacteria causing anaplasmosis, an illness that causes fever, chills, muscle headaches, bacteria causing babesiosis, a rare but serious blood infection. None of these have been detected in BC. Among the ticks found in western BC, American dog tick or wood tick can cause causative agents of Rocky Mountain spread fever and tularemia. So certainly what I like about living in Wells is we don't have them here yet. I know that my ex-wife and the kids were out walking a couple weeks ago in Williams Lake and had a few drop on some of the party. I don't remember if it was my kids or the other kids, but some ticks did land on them. And I think when we're looking at the forecast right now, it is sort of positive. We are still getting these cool nights. This will, for mosquitoes at least, delay a little bit any bodies of water that are still frozen, or may refreeze them at night slightly with a slight film, that kind of thing. So may mean that the kinds of fields that mosquitoes might breed in are still going to be having frost. So I think mosquitoes, I've definitely seen a couple out at times already this year, but I think until we're into an actual mosquito season, depending where you are in BC, of course, the further south you go, things will be different. But more or less, these temperatures are fairly widespread and fairly even across BC, right? So we're looking everywhere from the 0 to -10 range being pretty common and for the most part in the areas where people live, they're hitting just below 0. So we're getting some hard frost. Sure, that should keep mosquitoes down. In terms of what it does to ticks, I'm not an expert on this at all. In fact, I've never seen a tick. No, this week's deep freeze won't mean fewer ticks this spring. They're saying there was enough snow to protect them. You have to have temperatures in the 10 degrees Fahrenheit below to kill them. So I don't know if this will really do much besides just kind of stall them possibly, or slow them for a little bit. I don't think it's going to really wear them out. Nothing crazy this weekend. Weather shall clear up and we will have nice weather for a few days, albeit cool at night. That's all I got to say. I've been saying too much. Okay, bye for now, everybody. Bye.